We have the brand new, exciting and highly anticipated Cupra Terramar right here in the amazing Cupra City Garage in Berlin. Now, in a very special exterior color, we want to take a look at the Terramar from the outside and the inside with you before we can show you the first drive of the Cupra Terramar at the beginning of October. I would say you guys should check if you're part of the Simple Electric community. If not, we'd love your support with a subscription. That way you won't miss the second video with the first ride. And now let's get started with the brand new Cupra Terramar. And as always, we begin from the outside, start from the front, taking a look at the front section of the brand new Cupra Terramar. He shares the platforms together with the Audi Q3 and the VW Tiguan and already showcases to us, I believe, immediately from the very front, this rebellious. We have it in a unique exterior color, which is referred to as dark white. I even made an effort to match my shirt accordingly, and it incorporates this really nice shade of medium gray. We have the copper-colored Cupra logo positioned in the center, and then we also showcase the beautiful power domes on this elegantly sculpted hood here. Yes, optionally, you can also choose to get the HD matrix LED lights after the LED headlights, where you can optimally illuminate specific areas while driving without dazzling oncoming traffic. And if you are traveling a lot right now, I think this is probably the best way at the moment to move around at night. Of course, a Cupra must always have an expressive rim, and Cupra offers beautiful matte black tones like a silk matte in combination with the copper flags, whereas with dark void, an all black would have also fit well, Stefan.
Right, that would look good like that.
What dimensions do we have? We've got 255, 40, R20 installed here, and that's also a good size to fill out the wheel arches. There is also an option for wheels that are 21 inches available. Yes, we currently have the VZ eHybrid model parked right here. That's why we essentially have the charging port installed here. More details on that later, however, for the VZ eHybrid. Required because we want to stick to the design, and we have a nice line that continues here along the side, like what is known from Cupra, not chrome, but matte black and glossy black tones, extending even to the roof railing. And this color, it's not a pure violet as it might appear under artificial light here, but more of an anthracite with violet shimmering through. So depending on the sun and the light, I definitely find it a B. Most exciting colors you can have, yes, on the taillight, confidently then again showing the Terramar sign. And now at the beginning, there is also an America's Cup edition in a limited series with exactly 1,337 vehicles. So if you're looking for something very unique and special, you will find it with the Cupra Terramar. This edition's highlight for me is definitely the rear of the vehicle, especially here with the outstanding three-dimensional LED taillight, where the Cupra logo is also beautifully and independently illuminated. That's basically, I think, the latest hot stuff in taillight design, and that really just makes Cupra feel complete now through its vehicle. We showed you that with the Cupra Tavascan, and I think that's also a great story. That means if you're looking for the Terramar in full electric, you would, for example, find another option with the Tavascan. Feel free to check out the video description there. I'll also include a link to the first ride with the Tavascan. Yes, it's nice to notice the suggested air vents here, which are once again cleverly constructed with these reflective elements. And what naturally just looks brilliant is also this nicely accentuated mid-gray rear diffuser. That's a great story, that we don't have everything so monochromatic, but rather a nice mix here. We no longer have exhaust pipes that you can see, rather they are nicely concealed. Because the VZ eHybrid is a combination of two worlds, integrating the conventional combustion engine with an electric drive. Let's talk about the dimensions. We have a vehicle length of 4.51 meters, a width of 1.86 meters, plus exterior mirrors. That means on the left lane in the construction area, you should still get through with it. A vehicle height of 1.58 meters. For comparison, I am 1.85 meters tall, and the wheelbase is then 2.68 meters. The VZ eHybrid comes with a system output of 200 kilowatt, which equals 272 horsepower. Let's take some time now to find out together exactly how these figures are derived. Let's take a look under the front hood, where we discover a 1.5 liter turbocharged Otto engine with 4 cylinders, which generates a power output of 130 kilodalf, 177 horsepower, and a certain amount of torque, from 250 Newton meters of torque. Of course, we haven't yet reached the 200 kilodalf mark. This means that positioned before the 6-speed DSG transmission, between the engine and the transmission, there's an additional electric motor. This electric motor has 85 kilovolts, 115 HP, and up to 400 Newton meters of torque. So with both drive systems combined, we end up with a total system output of 200 kilowatt and 272 HP. Yes, you need a battery pack for that. It is located in the rear of the vehicle with 25.8 kilowatt hours gross and 19.7 kilowatt hours net. What can be charged here on the side, we talked about it at the beginning, is also possible with 3-phase AC at 11 kilowatts, so you can be completely full from completely empty in 2.5 to 3 hours. And you can also charge with DC at up to 50 kilowatts peak, which means that in about 26 minutes you can charge while on the road, for example during a lunch break, a coffee snack, or maybe even a leg stretch. Can be charged on the go. So this principle from two worlds, perhaps driving purely electrically in everyday life and only hybrid on long distances. Respective to the combustion engine, especially here with the large battery pack in the Terramar, can be implemented excellently. This system power propels the Terramar from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.3 seconds and then lets it run out at a top speed of 215 kilometers per hour. Later, a hybrid version will also follow with a slightly smaller combustion engine, then with 150 horsepower and slightly reduced system power. I believe it can also be an interesting alternative for those who don't need that much performance. Yes, we want to perform the hood check. The car is manufactured in Hungary, and of course we want to hear just how a Spanish-Hungarian hood actually sounds. Isn't that right, Stefan?
3, 2, 1, then let's begin.
Start. The Cupra Terramar launches as a pure combustion engine model here in Germany from around 43,000 euros. And as a VZ, hybrid at a good 56,000 euros. I think those are quite significant price differences, but of course you also get the most modern, cutting-edge technology with the VZ hybrid. Yes, last but not least, we must not overlook the fuel cap here. With the combustion engine variants, you have a tank volume of 60 liters, and with the VZ hybrid, it's 545 liters. But that's also sufficient because you obviously have an electric range of up to 100 kilometers. And so, of course, reaches very similar range values as a traditional combustion engine with its 60 liters of fuel capacity. Yes, we want to take a much closer look underneath the trunk lid and discover precisely what might be hidden behind the electric-powered tailgate opener. Usually the Terramar offers you 540 liters of storage volume. But since I mentioned earlier that there are battery packs installed below, the trunk volume for the VZ eHybrid is unfortunately reduced to 450 liters. That's just a minor compromise you have to accept in order to benefit from such a forward-looking drive system. But I think many people like to do that because you have the option to drive purely electrically in everyday life, producing no emissions and doing so completely silently. Through the city or also across the countryside, and 450 liters, I believe, is sufficient for many in everyday life or even on longer trips. Yes, everything here is very, very nice, just like the fixed parcel shelf covered with carpet. Also down here, everything comes with the finest carpet covering. There's no hard plastic except up here where the hinge is located. So this is really top quality. The carpet extends all the way down to the side, and then we only have here on the, so to speak, the entryway to the trunk. Then there's hard plastic. Maybe I would have preferred brushed or anodized aluminum there, because sometimes one might accidentally hit it with a suitcase or another object, and hard plastic is always a bit more prone to getting scratches. So for those who find 450 liters or even 540 liters insufficient, there's the option to fold down the backrest, and that is truly brilliant, only about 20% in the center, giving you the opportunity to transport a long item or perhaps skis during the winter. It might not fit perfectly, as I believe the Cupra Terramar would also be quite excellent in such scenarios, naturally in most situations where extra space is needed. Winter to the ski resort. Fit, yes, I have to move the driver's seat a bit forward because it's all the way back and down. And then we want to show you guys, does not really phase this at all. That is actually quite beautiful. How the 20% on the driver's side here can simply be folded down. Now I also need to check here, oh, here is a pull strap. Every car manufacturer has a different method for folding down the seats. So we essentially achieve around 60% of the total loading volume when we then move over to the passenger side and proceed to fold down the other seat as well. Then we probably have, I couldn't find any specific information, about 1400 liters of cargo volume. That's just an estimate from me. If you have more detailed information, please share it down in the comments below. There's one thing I don't particularly like, which I just noticed now. Stefan, look, here we have this type of hard plastic. It's textured and seems really quite chic. Seems somewhat prone to scratches, right? Yes.
I think so too.
A nice rug might have actually been a pretty good choice too. Yeah, let me guess, something that rolls up automatically.
Power closes.
We want to try that out here with our exhibit vehicle. And for those who find this interior volume insufficient, they have the option here with the beautifully shiny black roof rails. Look, he's got a smithy. You missed that, right?
No, I didn't want to spoil the surprise.
Oh man, Cupra, they could have easily built that into the body, windows and mirrors. Because that can also be a bit annoying, because if we now put a large ski box on the roof rack, we have 75 kilograms of support load here, then it could basically hit against the shark fin here, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't be so cool.
That means we really need another option, which the Cupra Terramar undoubtedly provides us with. This is the optional tow hitch available in different versions. I believe electrically extendable and manually attachable, if I saw that correctly in the configurator. And there you can tow 750 kilograms unbraked and up to 2 tons when braked.
That's decent.
That means you can also tow a decent caravan, a sports boat, or maybe even horses. So you can really load up the Cupra VZ eHybrid significantly, and you still have 80 kilograms of hitch load available. That's also important for the fans of refined pedelec sports who might want to transport their electrically assisted bikes with more weight on it. So I genuinely believe the Cupra Terramar is very well prepared for all possible variants. On the outside, we're completely done. Now let's head inside and take a closer look at what type of glazing we have installed on board. We have here some very, very nice double glazing, which means 2 glass panes that are connected together by a special film in between. Yes, as always, we want to take a look inside and see how the build quality of the interior is. Up here we have a plastic material that is lightly foamed with a great grain, and then it transitions into this supportive, active, ambient light. That means if you have, for example, a blind spot warning, then it reflects in red. It's a great feature. We also have this copper note here looking very nice in a frame. Then in connection with the plastic door handle, we have here again a harder plastic surface, but with a bit of ambient lighting subtly shining through. I think it's incredibly well executed. Here we have the optional Sennheiser sound system available. We want to try that out with you, and we have here, I guess, an artificial leather, also with a simulated seam, which is also nicely padded here for all those who want to rest their elbow on it. Yes, conventional mirror adjustment, power windows. We know this from Cupra, that's good. Here below, hard plastic, where there are also boxes inside where you have the release for the gas cap as well as the trunk release. And inside here, it's just hard plastic once again, no felt, no carpet, no kind of lining. Anyone who wants that, I think, has to rely on themselves and might find a solution at a local hardware store. But I find it really unfortunate, Cupra, that you don't put an insert in there. We used to have that in the vehicles before, so nothing could make noise or rattle around. A warm welcome here to the interior of the Cupra Terramar. Let's take a look at the dashboard here. There is a nice soft plastic used that looks chic, it looks high quality. We have this ambient light, which, as mentioned, also has an active function wrapping around here in a kind of gentle circle. We have on board a very easy to read display where we hope to receive further support as well. We'll definitely be testing that out at the drive event. And we have a steering wheel that you can adjust in both height and distance to best suit your individual needs. Yes, the virtual cockpit is always included with the VZ eHybrid, I believe. That means fully digital, where you have all the possibilities to also change it in visual representations. This is my favorite display, nice and efficient. With the central tachometer, we'll go full power, Stefan, right? Yes.
Nicely sporty.
Exactly, but of course you are unique and have the freedom to adjust it however you see fit. Yes, this is a showroom vehicle, so please don't be surprised if there's a bit of clanging and banging going on here and there. That kind of issue will of course definitely no longer be present in the final production vehicle when it's fully completed. Yeah, it's also quite nice that we get to hear a little bit of the radio here once more. I wanted to show you that you can also project the navigation very nicely into your view. And you have a beautiful multifunction leather steering wheel which feels very comfortable to the touch and is very sporty. Here as well with the gaps down here. Then copied again, haptic buttons, rotary controls. It really doesn't get any better than this. Behind here we then have the paddle shifters for the 6-speed DSG transmission. We have, and this is really important, the Cupra button. Oh yes, yes. That we constantly press to bring the car into this magical rebellious form with maximum performance. And we have a very, very nice start-stop button for the engine, which we probably know from sports cars all the way up to Formula One. Yes, in the middle there is a huge, I'd estimate it's about 14, 15 inches. Infotainment display of the latest generation. Everything nicely backlit. There was a lot of criticism about that in the past. With a simple menu, meaning you always have very, very nice sub-menus to browse through. Everything is clean and tidy, very well explained. Everything is superbly illuminated, allowing you to perfectly adjust the head-up display to your liking. All the way to the climate menu, where you have tactile control knobs that you can precisely adjust and fine-tune even while you are driving. Right up to the rear seat adjustment, that means we have here probably then also 3 zones, Stefan, that we can accordingly manage. I'll warm it up a bit, don't want you freezing.
This is quite nice right now, thank you.
Here in the Cupra City Garage, we are enjoying pleasantly summer-like temperatures. Yes, and in addition to that, we have this lovely tile system installed here. I believe that's a wonderful story. It's modern, it's interesting. Just like we know it from our smartphones or tablets, we also have decent processors behind them which let us zoom in and out very, very smoothly here. Faster is always possible, but this works, right? Yes.
That's quite sufficient.
Exactly, and on board we also have the different driving modes that you are able to choose from. Comfort, performance, the Cupra mode which I have activated, or your own personalized settings if you have particular preferences you prefer to use. Yes, what's important for a plug-in hybrid is, of course, the battery manager, which means that with the eHybrid you have the ability to control the recuperation accordingly. That means weak, strong or automatic. Automatically, it then takes from the travel pilot, from the intelligent drive package, which I would also recommend to you, where you get maximum support. That means lane keeping assist, lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, where the car should really be able to drive semi-autonomously excellently. I don't want to preempt the video in early October, but we know the system from other VW Group derivatives, and VW is really top of the top with other manufacturers like BMW and Mercedes. And of course, you have the ability to control the charging as well, since you don't always charge to a full 100%, but usually to around 80 or 90% in everyday use. And with 19.7 kilowatt hours net and nearly 100 kilometers of electric range, at least in the city, it should be enough so you don't need to charge daily, right, Stefan?
No, right?
Absolutely, here you have a really wonderful story, and you also get the fantastic opportunity to truly personalize your home screen just a little bit more. You also have the option to drive purely in electric mode, or to let the car automatically decide for itself when it needs electric performance and when it needs the combustion engine for support. Let's move on to the center console before I forget, because everything is so conveniently oriented towards the driver. That means the display, here the air vents, and here the center console have a slight orientation towards the driver. We have two USB-C ports available. Additionally, we have the option to wirelessly charge a phone right here. Not quite two, but here I think a bit of ventilation as well. That is important because phones can quickly overheat easily. Two cup holders nicely outlined with copper color, also a small coin compartment or a place to put a pen. I think it's great, but what I miss is a blind, you know? Yeah.
For closing.
Because that way you could have very easily placed the second phone here very nicely one more time. And what we need to talk about is, unfortunately, the material mix. Here we have a kind of soft plastic, which I like. So here we essentially have plastic, both painted and perforated. It looks absolutely really fantastic. Here we actually have some hard plastic. To be honest, I think they could have shown a bit more love and attention to the material mix details. Don't you agree?
Yeah, maybe cover it a bit or add a nice stylish seam with some extra detailing or something like that.
Yes, or maybe go with aluminum or a carbon structure. There are some amazing materials that can be laser cut and processed extremely thin nowadays. And it moves away a bit from, how do you say it so nicely?
Sends plastic, sends delivery vans.
Yeah, I almost feel sorry, because when you see it as a whole piece of art, also here with the ambient lighting where you can control the colors, it's all done with so much attention to detail. Where so many engineers at Cupra have invested an incredible amount of thought and effort into the development of our Terramar, that it feels really like such a shame if we end up criticizing one or the other material, don't you think? Let's focus on the positive and stay there. We've got some nice faux leather here, I would guess, also nicely padded as a center armrest. That's great, but you can't actually adjust them as far as I can tell. This is rigid and then offers a large compartment here. Just look how deep I can reach down here, and I can also reach in here again. That means I can also hide something here nicely. That's good. Next time I think I'll put your lens in there, then you won't even know where it is.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, what I would recommend, I'm a fan of it now, I don't know how you see it, feel free to write it in the comments, is something like a sunshade. So you don't have the hot plate effect. If you basically have the glass roof closed without sun protection, I think I just pressed the wrong side here. Yes, I actually wanted to open the page. That's brilliant. And then you have this huge panoramic glass sliding roof here, where you can enjoy not only the sun, but also the fresh Berlin City Garage air from Cupra. Yeah, thanks. Well, you're laughing. Just look at how many great plants are here to create a good atmosphere in the Cupra City Garage. I think it's really
very nice.
I think it's totally cool that people are thinking beyond just creating fully ventilated and air-conditioned spaces, right? Yeah.
AC?
Exactly. And that might be a good option for you too, to enjoy the fresh outdoor air even more during your drive in spring, summer and autumn. And when the sun beats down on your head through the tinted glass roof, like it does today with 33 degrees in Berlin, you can pull forward this wonderfully high-quality sunshade and avoid that hot plate effect as it should be. A beautiful black fabric roof lining, everything really fantastically executed again. The view through the passenger door shows I have perfectly designed ergonomics here, offering great comfort too. From armrests in the door, armrests in the center console, and especially from the seat. This means that, as standard, there's always a sporty seat in a Cupra. Right here in the VZ eHybrid, we decided to go with leather once again and opted for a deep burgundy, which is essentially a very deep, rich and luxurious burgundy color. So it actually fits perfectly. With the dark white exterior, it's somehow a perfect match, right? Yeah.
That looks really great indeed.
And what Cupra Perfect does is provide exceptionally strong support for your thighs, especially during fast cornering. Outstanding support here in the lumbar area with robust shoulder cushions that noticeably stand out and an integrated headrest for added comfort. And here, once again, brilliantly in copper tones, the logo is incorporated, plus right up here. So, is that embroidery or perhaps embossing? I can't tell right now.
That looks like embossing. I don't want any seams.
For the ladies and gentlemen among you who might want to attach a child seat with Isofix on the passenger seat, we have the corresponding points here as well. That means, of course, the little one can also comfortably sit up front alongside you through the duration of the entire ride. A glove compartment is indeed essential, but Cupra is quite economical with the materials used here as well. There's no felt, no carpeting, just hard plastic inside. To be honest, I'm actually a bit surprised by this. Just like down here, it's hard plastic. At least it has a nice grain, but this is what I'm saying in terms of compromise, that you don't even get below the belt line downwards. But already starts off with using these materials. Yes, here on the side, it's again more hard plastic in the trim. Below there's at least a nicely edged piece of carpet. By the way, the Cupra floor mats, they put in extra effort for those. They're very sporty and very stylish, especially with that faux leather area. So why not everything, Stefan, right? Yes?
I don't really get that either, to be honest.
Sure, all manufacturers want to maximize their profits. That's what they're supposed to do. But our vehicle prices, they are quite ambitious. So I'd say starting from 43K or respectively. For the VZ hybrid variant, a good 56,000 euros. And I think they could still improve that a little bit more. With a 4.51 meter SUV, you generally want to travel with several passengers. With the kids, but maybe also with 4 other adults. And so it's particularly interesting to take a seat in the back with me, standing at 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighing in at dear-like 220 pounds. We want to take a look at the back seat with you. When the front passenger seat is adjusted to the B pillar, I have plenty of space here. Sure, it gets a bit tighter up front, but that's the compromise you make when traveling with 3 or 4 people. Yes, we have a center armrest. Very nice, again covered in leather with the 2 cup holders. Although I'm a fan of it when the center armrest is the full length, preferably with the reclining third headrest. And then basically sliding the cup holders out here, because ergonomically I would now knock the cup holder with my elbow, or I would have to restrict myself here like this to drive like that. However, I honestly believe I would perceive it as somewhat more uncomfortable on longer trips overall. Feel free to leave a comment about how you feel about this new trend with these cup holders. Yes, here in the back we again have this finest deep burgundy of the leather package. We also have on board 2 Isofix fittings at the front and rear, and we can naturally, I believe, also slightly adjust the recline angle of the rear seat back. You can see that here over the loop, so if you prefer a more lying position, then you can lie down. If you want it steeper, you can adjust it steeper. That's sometimes interesting, especially when transporting larger items in the trunk, so you don't have to fold down the seats. But simply places them upright to get more loading volume, yes. On board here, you have 2 USB ports and the 3-zone climate control, which means you can also set your desired temperature here at the back. You have 2 air vents in the center console. In this vehicle class, air vents are usually not located in the B pillar, and this is also true for the Cupra Terramar. Yes, in terms of height, I have enough space here. You always have slight restrictions because of the sunroof. Is well managed because it essentially ends up here in the front. This way I also have ample headroom throughout the entire suspension travel here. Yes, the rear seat back, here we can see once again the Cupra logo with the small pass-through is unfortunately covered with plastic. That means they didn't even fully extend this leather all the way down to the bottom here. Here I'm certainly missing a small net where you could perhaps clip in a tablet or a phone, or perhaps even an interesting magazine like the T&E magazine. Feel free to check it out. That's where I always write the car reviews, in the T&E magazine. And there I also did an excellent and detailed report on the Cupra Tavascan, for example. So you actually end up with one more wasted storage space. Yes, what's also not so great is the hard plastic here on the side, Stefan. You could have covered it with some fabric because we forgot on the passenger seat that it can always rattle a bit. This is also radar plastic, so the passenger seat belt can also rattle. Yes, where Cupra provides us with a bit of extra storage space is down here. Well, I'm really not sure if that's very practical, but otherwise we've got the door panel here, which at least looks quite similar in the back as it does in the front seats. Absolutely. We've also had quite a surprise. I think it was with the VW ID.3, where from front to back in the first ID.3 they somehow made significant changes. Yes?
Where it was somehow two different doors.
Up at the front you'll find Gonster, and in the back,
well, only the rabble is seated in the back. Let's just put it that way.
oh, that's really not working out so nicely. Let's move on to the interim conclusion section with the Cupra Terramar VZ eHybrid model. I believe we were able to show you nicely how the exterior design is crafted, how the interior is styled, and how much attention to detail Cupra always puts into its models. Yes, a preliminary conclusion because we will be attending the driving event near Barcelona at the beginning of October. Exactly, and to take the brand new Terramar VZ Hybrid out for an exciting and memorable spin on its very first drive together with all of you. I believe it's a fantastic car which serves as a very, very strong alternative to the Audi Q3 and especially, in my opinion, to the VW Tiguan because it boasts such a rebellious, sporty and aesthetically beautiful design line. Optionally, you can get many equipment variants up to a high-performance braking system from Akebono. I believe that's how it's called, but our test car here, which doesn't have it installed, already has a gross list price of over 64,000 euros. So if you scroll through the configurator, the entry-level price starts at 56,000 euros, but you can quite quickly add 7, 8, 9 or even 10,000 euros on top. And with that, we have come to the end of today's video featuring the Cupra Terramar. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Feel free to drop by and visit the Cupra City Garage in either Berlin or Munich. This vehicle will be on display for several more weeks, so you can take a look at it, sit inside, really get a feel for it, do a seat test and much more. See you then, I expect by late autumn, when the first test drives should actually be possible. Market launch is planned for the end of the year. That means people can probably safely park the Cupra Terramar under the Christmas tree with a bit of luck, provided you have the right amount of cash. Yes, I'd like to ask you to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, or of course feel free to give it a thumbs down if you didn't. Please check if you're part of the simple electric community, and if not, we'd love your support with a subscription. Ring the bell so you don't miss the first ride with this model in early October. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy and see you soon. And yes, Olli, Stefan, I think it's so awesome that he now also gets these new HD matrix headlights, which provide even better vision in the dark. No blinding on traffic, right? Yes.
Very beautiful, truly.